Good job, Rika.
Welcome back. Shall we pick up where we left off?
Rika, give it to me. Die. That really is hard to use. The cursed energy scatters and it's hard to focus it. Inumaki's incredible. It's true. All my friends are so amazing and strong. And you, Rika, you are too! I'll beat you to a pulp!
Before we get started, I just want to allow my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves, basically tell everybody who you are and what you do, and also tell us your favorite gateway anime. What got you into anime?
Hi, I'm Kayleigh McKee, coming at you through a bit through not my camera today. Apologies, but I am the voice actor for Yuta Okkotsu, as well as Kirara in Jujutsu Kaisen, Pina in Beastars, Testament in Guilty Gear, and lots more. And let's see, gateway anime. I've been an anime fan my whole life. I was introduced to it I don't know the first anime I would have watched. I don't think I was forming memories at the time, because my parents watched anime. But the ones that I can really remember are, as far as my parents, my dad introduced me to Trigun and Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
And I then watched Dragon Ball and Pokemon and also a whole slew of other anime that were on like Kids WB and late night Cartoon Network Saturdays before Toonami was what late night anime was Cartoon Network's late night anime. It was just Cartoon Network late night anime, like Adult Swim anime night, and that was like Outlaw Star and Inuyasha, stuff like that. That was every Saturday.
Okay, so yeah, you got a little bit of a history of anime. Sometimes I talk to voice actors, and sometimes they don't really know anime or stuff like that, which, that's no grades against them or anything, but it's just, it feels good when you talk to somebody, and they know a little bit more about the industry and stuff like that.
You merely adopted the weeb. I was born in it, molded by it.
For me personally, I'll say my gateway anime will have to be Dragon Ball Z. I've always been I always tell a story. I was randomly just flicking through channels and I just seen it on TV and it just caught me by surprise because I'm like, I've never seen a cartoon like this before. And I watching a marathon of it and end up not realizing I was watching it on demand. So it was actually charging us every time.
Oh
no. So when that bill came at the end of the month, yeah, I was reminded that I'm not supposed to do that. All right, but before we try to jump into our interview, I just kind of want to ask you what you've recently been watching or playing or listening to. Have you been watching any new anime that's come out or any new movies or TV shows not anime related?
Yeah, so obviously Jujutsu Kaisen, like I'm a part of it, but I also watch it. Like I record the episode. Okay, episode comes out, I watch it subbed. I record the episode, then I go watch it dubbed.
Okay, are you caught up with the manga and stuff?
Yes, though I can't talk about it.
Okay, I feel it.
As a representative of the brand, I can't talk about it, but God, do I want to. And I also have been watching Chainsaw Man, Frieren, Dungeon Meshi, excited for more of that to come out. Spy Family. Non-anime, I am catching up on Invincible.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff.
I need to jump into that myself.
Yeah, and also cartoons, the modern cartoons. Finally, those shorts started to come out on the WB channel. Keep an eye out on those. Wink. But they're very cool, and I hope that shows actually come from them. It's just sad that the WB YouTube channel is where they're ending up, because they were originally going to air on Cartoon Network, and maybe they are, but it all got in weird limbo after the studio that we like Cartoon Network actors and animators and stuff, parentheses me included, got shut down.
Oh, okay.
But at least they're coming out. So hopefully something good comes from that, and WB sees that people want more original cartoon content. So I highly recommend going and watching those cartoons shorts and supporting them.
For sure, we have to support things that we want to see more of.
Yeah.
And what just talking about that, I don't know if you recently seen like the I think it was the new Avatar movie had recently dropped before it was supposed to be released in theaters, and also I think they were going to drop it on streaming service on Paramount.
Yeah, I have not touched that. I refuse to touch that. Michaela, who voices Toph, is a pal of mine, and so just, out of respect, even if I didn't know anybody that was in it, just out of respect for that crew and for the production, I have not touched it. I will watch it once I am legally able to watch it. It's not that I have anything against finding whatever method you need to watch something, but when it comes to leaks and watching stuff early, I wait. But I'm very excited to watch it once I can.
Me too. I'm right in the same boat with you. I said I was just gonna wait until it come out the right way, because I just hate the fact that all those people who worked on it are not gonna be able to get nothing from it just because it got leaked early. And I hate the way that it happened. I will say it wasn't like someone went in there and tried to find it type of thing, where it just seemed like somebody accidentally sent it to the wrong person, which sometimes things can happen like that. But I just hate the fact that it's all over everywhere, and then you see all the voice actors kind of like upset because it hurts. You did all that hard work, and now you're not able to see it the way it's supposed to be seen. So
yeah, I've had leaks happen, so I get it,
man.
Yeah.
But for things that I've been recently watching, I've been kind of getting into watching a lot more sitcoms, trying to get away from a little bit watching anime 24/7. So I've been getting into The King of Queen. It's a Kevin James sitcom. Really good. Really enjoy it. Also been watching the Bernie Mac show. Amazing. Pretty good. But now getting into anime, recently been getting into Bleach, trying to get myself a little hyped up for the new season that's coming out. Just got done with the last season of Jujutsu Kaisen. I will say you did amazing. Yuta literally became my favorite character from that last season. He was amazing.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
I had to say he's like almost second to Gojo when it comes to strength, because I was like, man, he is really showing it. And it's crazy because I've read the manga, but it's good to see things animated.
It just it hits different.
For sure. I also got to watch that new slime movie that just came out, Tears of the Arthurian Sea, in theaters. That was pretty good. I want to recommend people start going to the theaters and watching these movies so that you get a chance to see more, because I know in my neighborhood you only got like 2 or 3 theaters that have it. So I feel like if we can get more of those theaters packed up, more theaters will have to more or less get those movies and play them, because it's just so hard sometimes when you want to find them, you know what I mean?
And you can also request showings from your local cinema. You can call them and say, hey, this is in theaters. It's in theaters, like theaters of your company, or like whatever. Like, this is in theaters. Can you get it in? And 9 times out of 10, they'll at least look into it.
For sure. I did not know that. I definitely got to look into that. I wonder if that's something like, if you have like name, like if you go around and get like names and signatures and stuff like that, would that help your cause to try to get that movie there type of thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I do know for the Digital Circus final episode feature length like theater event, like it has worked, of people just calling their theater saying, hey, I want you to get this, and then suddenly there's showings for them to do, like not even signatures or anything, just be like, hey, I want to request a showing of a thing that's going to be in theaters.
Wow. Okay. See, I'm thinking you got to have some type of like push to do that. Maybe just call.
Nah.
I guess at the end of the day, they're trying to get more people into the theater. So if you're calling and giving them suggestions, they're probably like, well, if he's asking us to bring in, probably more people probably want to see this type of thing. So
right, exactly. Yeah, it's just business.
Now, jumping right into our interview, for my first question, one of my main reasons I kind of wanted to talk to you was to kind of just talk about your work in the JJK series, basically, where you play Yuta. What do you think of the character? How did you get into the series, and how was voicing in the movie versus different than voicing in the anime?
Yeah, so how I got the character, it was an audition, in my email. And but I actually had auditioned for characters in season 1. I had auditioned for Yuji and Gojo for season 1.
Oh, that's fun.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I didn't get either of them, and that was the correct choice on the casting director's part. Adam and Keiji are fucking phenomenal. Sorry, Adam and Keiji are freaking phenomenal. I don't know if I can swear, but
you're good as long as it comes natural.
Awesome. And so I had watched season 1 as well, just because it's like I was really interested in it, and so I had auditioned for it, and I was a fan of it. I had started reading the manga, but I didn't read Zero, and I hadn't gotten far enough to meet Yuta back in the main series. So I got this audition, and it was like for the Jujutsu Kaisen movie, and I was like, oh, it's probably just like a side character that's never going to show up again. So I recorded it for like 15 minutes, sent it out, because I was like, I haven't heard of this character, so like clearly they're not that important. And then my agent calls me back like a week later, and he's like, Kayleigh, you got the role. And I'm like, oh, rad. And he's like, it's the main character of the movie, right? And I was like, what? What? I was like, yeah. And actually, he was the original main character for the series, and also is going to be very important in the anime later. And I was like, what do you mean? So that was crazy. And after he said like, oh, he comes back later, it wasn't until like I was learning more about the character that I realized how much evolution he goes through as a character. Like I saw some later panels and whatever of like him looking like more serious and like with the different hairstyle and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I know he's going somewhere. And they explained to me the plot of the movie, and I was like, okay, so this is a character, who's going to evolve in this movie from like, to find his strength, and that's where we're going to leave him off. Like he's unsure, and he's like had his head in the sand about, all of this cursed stuff, and being haunted by his dead childhood, like loved one, but then finds himself, and that was really cool. But then moving to the series post time jump, like a year older, like it's because he hasn't been around. He's been in Africa searching for a thing that they didn't find, which was I love how they just threw it away. Just like, oh, we were over there looking for it, we didn't find it, oopsie. Which sucks. I kind of want. I've always wanted, and I will always want like a Miguel and Yuta, like what was going on over there, little side story.
That'd be nice. Two little episodes giving us little details of what was going on. Yeah,
exactly. Or a short film or whatever. It doesn't matter. Or maybe bring back like Jujutsu strolls, but it's just little clips of like little moments of what they were doing over there. But He was more mature, he was more confident, but he immediately had to act like a bad guy. He had to put on this act, and so that was interesting to navigate, because I was like, he's probably not a perfect actor, but like good enough that if you didn't know he was putting on an act, you're convinced. But I wanted it to be where the people who do know he's putting on an act can tell, and I think I did that right.
Yeah, I feel like you did.
Yeah, awesome. But then the big moment of evolution is Sendai Colony episode, where he wasn't there for the Shibuya incident. He didn't go through that, like go through all of that nonsense and all of that trauma. The Sendai Colony, seeing a bunch of those colonists die and like just do that fight, that's when he goes through the crap. And so that's where he really, like, that last piece of the puzzle clicks in, and he really says, okay, well, I understand my responsibility now. Like I don't think it hit him as hard that Gojo was not there until then, and he recognizes what he has to be. And so this is kind of the Yuta that we're gonna get for the rest of the season. He's like done cooking. He's out of the oven. He's fully baked. And so it's just been really, really cool to, over the span of 3 years, portray that evolution with the movie and even a game where they have a little bit of like, oh, you know what's coming. And then for the end of season 2 and then season 3, to go through that arc. And now I'm just really excited to portray that Yuta moving forward. Anyway, that was really long-winded, but I put so much thought and work into his evolution that I really hope people like where he landed. Because like in the beginning of season 3, some people were like, oh, he feels too soft and like too like yada yada, and I'm like, but that's who he is, and also but that's also who he is at this moment, because he still has a little bit of that whimsy that all of the characters had in season 1 that was beaten out of them in Shibuya, but he didn't get it beaten out of him yet until Sendai Colony episode.
For sure. And I like just even the progression you get from the movie to seeing them into the animated season. Like that growth was pretty good. And then seeing him go against Ichidori, and then you get the last few episodes where he's like kicking ass. Like you can really see the difference in his mindset throughout just those few moments right there. So yeah, I feel like you've done amazing with the role. You've done amazing.
Thank you.
Do you have any specific favorite moments or scenes that from the character that you really liked, or?
I really like in the movie when he's in the classroom talking to Maki, and she's like talking about her family, and he basically goes, hey, if you ever need help like killing them all or something, ask me. And she's just like, no, if I did that, I'd do it myself. And then she does. But like he said he'd support her.
Give you that little nudge that ended up happening a little later. Crazy.
Yep. Oh. And then I really like in the Sendai Colony episode, basically when he goes like, no bitches? Like, do you not have friends or loved ones? I kind of feel bad, but like I can't feel that bad because you are killing people, but still.
For sure. I feel that one. Well, my next question I want to ask you is, what do you find most rewarding and least rewarding about being a voice actor?
Least rewarding, the pay. Not a lot of it. When you compare us to on-screen actors, it's basically not the same job. I feel like I get paid the same amount that your cousin that does graphic design gets when he does a logo for the local bar. Like, it's so nothing. The most rewarding, the ability to inhabit a story, to be a part of telling a story that can move people, that can expand their minds and their hearts. That is the most rewarding.
Okay. That's pretty interesting. Looking at your IMDb, I see that you were in two animes that I really enjoyed. First one is Happy Marriage, and the other one is Kotaro Lives Alone, where you play two different type of characters. One is the prince who has the ability to see like into the future. That's in Happy Marriage. And then in Kotaro Lives Alone, you play one of the neighbors that comes off more like a gangster, but he's actually like one of the sweetest people in the whole apartment complex.
Yeah.
How do you really remember anything about these roles, and how did you enjoy these series or stuff like that?
I do, and I enjoyed them both a lot. With Kotaro Lives Alone, I'm gonna be honest, I copped like a lot of the energy that I put into that character straight from Kayleigh McKee and Sunny Straight, who voice adult Gohan and Krillin.
That's interesting. Okay, I could kind of see that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, not the characters, but the energy. Just they're like kind of like can look serious and like can sound serious to the right, to like the person enough that it scares them. But then it's just like when you get down to it, just like really goofy and nice and happy. So I just felt like that was the right energy. That's what a lot of people do, is you kind of take inspiration from past performances that you really like and then synthesize it to make it your own. And it just felt natural. Like I didn't even really actively make the choice. I just sort of saw the character and I just sort of knew that that's what I was going to do when I saw the audition. And then for My Happy Marriage, I'm pretty sure that wasn't even an audition. I think I was autocast. They just kind of knew that I would be good for it. And I guess they chose well, because I really like doing Takahito. It's very like a sensual sort of like sounding voice, calm. But unlike other like pretty boy characters, very I feel like the beauty in the voice is not being purposefully flaunted.
For sure.
He's very centered, very grounded, and takes his duties very seriously. And I liked that performance. Also because I knew it would never be vocally straining, because he's very soft the whole time.
I think he also has an interesting voice where it's kind of like hard to like be like, oh, it's not manly, but it's not too feminine. You know what I mean? It's like right in the middle. You know what I mean? So
yes, and he moves slightly more masculine or feminine depending on the audience he's speaking to, and he does that on purpose. He uses it as a form of as a tool, a form of like negotiation, I guess.
Like subtle manipulation a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Moving to my next question. If you weren't doing voice acting, what do you think you'd be doing instead?
Character design or storyboard, probably. I'm also an illustrator and artist.
Okay. So like for like little for books and stuff?
No, for animation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, storyboard design or storyboarding and character design. I've taken storyboarding classes, character design courses, things like that. I've drawn my whole life. I don't have a degree because at first I started with illustration major and studio arts major, and then I switched to fine arts and acting. And then once I had enough credits that I would have had a degree if I hadn't switched, I kind of was like, I got all the skills that I wanted, and no director's going to care if I have a degree. So I just left school.
For sure. I probably would have did the same thing, because now it's like, dang, you got to start back over, but you already know what you want to do, and you already got everything you need. So like, let me try to go see what I can do real quick.
Exactly.
Instead of collecting more debt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
What emotions do you find hard to portray with just your voice?
Honestly, it's the more subtle emotions. Analytical tone. There's a lot of times when like they're like, this is internal, you know, this is thought, this is thinking, this is analytical. And then I'll do it and they'll be like, sounded a bit angry. And I'm like, I promise that's not my intention. It's just his browser, like the character's browser furrowed on screen. You know, there's little things like that. The more subtle an emotion is, the more liable it is to be read entirely differently by every different person that hears it. Because it's all, because at that point you're relying on body language, facial language. But in limited animation, like a lot of anime, except Jujutsu Kaisen, because they use the GDP of a small country to animate. Then I mean, literally, they use so much money. I swear they would bankrupt a small country. That's
why I look so good. You gotta get the props.
Exactly. But you know, the more subtle it is, the more you try, the more your brain automatically tries to rely on those clues. But like when the animation is more limited or things like that, you know, your different people's brains will tell you different things. And so you have to really navigate and try to, and you strike the place where the most people will experience it the way you intend.
For sure. And that's basically how every performance is basically interpreted, because you can give your best performance, but how people take it, you never know. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Yeah. And you know what else? You know what else matters? I can scream into that microphone, but if the mixers drop the volume of that scream too much, the audience will be like, oh, that scream is so weak. They barely screamed. And I'm sitting here with
veins popping out.
Right. With like my throat dead for a week. But it's literally just because they dropped the volume too much. And it's just like, it doesn't come across as strong. Like you have to be really careful with stuff like that. But you also don't want it so high that you're peaking out their speakers, you know?
For sure. Like, yeah. But see, it's probably hard to really figure out what's the best for it, because you try to probably copy a little bit of what the Japanese is doing, but then you're trying to also try to fit it for what you're doing over here in the English too. So
yep.
And then you're probably try to make another Dragon Ball where it's like majority screens.
Yeah.
So my next question I want to ask you, out of all the characters that you voice, which one do you consider your best, and which one do you wish you can go back and redo?
My best.
Or the one that's most unique to you.
Right. I feel the one I wish I could go back and redo, I will say, is season 1 of Bastard on Netflix. I voice Kai Harn in Bastard, dark fantasy heavy metal on Netflix. And season 2, I was able to find the character. I was able to explore her more. But in season 1, there was this weird thing where they were like, you know, she needs to sound like a boy at first, but then maybe not, but then like androgynous, but then she can sound like a woman, but then she definitely needs to sound like a woman when she's making all of these sex noises at the end. And it was just really, really weird and difficult to navigate. She wasn't actually having sex, but it was meant to sound like it. She was getting poison sucked out of her by the main character, but it was meant to, like, it's kind of a fan service show. It's 80s style. But in season 2, I was able to synthesize all of that and really like create a voice that I really liked for her. And I just wish I wish I could go back with that new synthesized version of her and pull that energy throughout while still fitting the needs of season 1. But season 2 but character that I think was like the best or most unique to me is, I don't know, I think it's either Yuta or could also be I did a character in, oh gosh, what was it called? I did this character that was half man, half woman, and it was like a villain, like split down the center. One half like was chalk white and the other half was pitch black. And then they different lines. It was in like guy voice or woman voice. And I'll admit,
Reed Cutie Honey.
Yes, it was. And I really liked doing that, and I don't think very many other people in the world could do that character like I did, because I would switch between lines just like this in the middle of a sentence.
Wow, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
Okay. I definitely gotta check out that show. I haven't seen it myself. I think the character name is Black Claw.
Yes, Black Claw. Yes.
That is pretty cool. I definitely gotta check that out. For my next question, I want to ask you is, you were in one of the big 3 animes, One Piece. I think I'm gonna mess up this character's name, but I'm gonna try. I think it's Kiku.
Yes.
From the Wano arc.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about the character and being a part of the One Piece series?
One Piece leveled me up as an actor.
Oh, okay.
I was in like 100 episodes. You know, Wano, one of the best arcs. Just so stylish, beautiful animation, great story. And my character is one of Oden's 7 scabbards, so very tied to Oden and like all that whole story. Also meets like, you know, Big Mom and all, and you know, all of the Straw Hats, and so the like important character in the arc, which is very cool. And but yeah, it was crazy because she'll be like giddy, cartoonishly happy one moment, and then like panicked another, and then screaming another, and then sobbing another, and then, you know, like just, and then the most dramatic in another, and then like every emotion you could think of pushed to like the nth degree, because that's how One Piece is.
For sure.
And she gets to do all of them. I swear, like she has every emotion at some point. And so it leveled me up as an actor because I had to, you know, I had to go from as cartoony as possible to as serious as possible, and all of the places in between for like every emotion. And so I really learned a lot, and really like found some new muscles I didn't know I had acting wise. And so I love it. And I've since become a much bigger enjoyer of the One Piece universe as well. So it's super meaningful to me.
Oh, did you watch it before being a part of it, or?
No. I mean, yes, a little bit back on 4Kids. For
sure.
But past that, no. All I knew about it until I was in it was from a friend of mine who keeps up with it, and he would like tell me about it. So I had like touchstones. I had knowledge to operate off of, luckily.
Okay, so you at least knew who the main characters were when you got in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew who a lot of the big enemies were, and like some of the other important characters.
For my next question, I want to ask you, Is there anyone you want to shout out for being a good support system for you? And can you explain why having a support system has helped you get to where you're at?
So many people. That's really hard to pin. I mean, I can't say just one.
I know.
But
Go ahead and shout out as many people as you need to.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for so many amazing people that I love. Steve Bloom told me to put a certain voice types on my demo. He said I had a superpower and that if I didn't, I was making a mistake. And I listened to him and I put him on my demo and I got picked up a few months later by my agency. Yeah, Steve was really important to me. And I've told him that since. Yeah, I'm super grateful to him. Like how, yeah, I mean, I could shout out everybody. Shout out to a lot of the people that I was in classes with at first, who we made like friends with each other and then pushed each other forward before any of us had any big roles. People like AJ Beckles, who, you know, is the voice of Okarun and Dandadan. Before any of us had an agent, we met in classes and became friends. And same with Luis Bermudez, who's now the voice of Blanca in Street Fighter.
Okay, it's crazy to kind of see people from their start and now you're like, wow, look at us now, type of thing.
Yeah. Like we all, a bunch of us like made a group. Alyssa Luz Martinez was in that group as well. And yeah, amazing people. Shout out to Lizzie Freeman, as well as Michael Kovac, who they played Pomni and Jax in Digital Circus. Both of them were friends of mine before Digital Circus. And they are just like some of the sweetest people in the world. And you know, I had expressed an interest in getting into indie animation, and they trust me and you know, did some talking on my behalf, got me on the audition list that has gotten me now into Knights of Guinevere by Glitch and Dana Terrace. And that's just very cool because I really think indie animation is where storytelling, like true heart of storytelling is right now in Western animation. What with, like I was talking about earlier, with Cartoon Network shutting down, all these mergers happening, all of these execs canceling series because they are afraid to make anything that doesn't seem like on the surface, according to their algorithms, that it'll make $30 billion, which is not how art should be made.
Yep, nobody wants to try anything new anymore.
Exactly. And it's heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean, I could go on all day. Casey Mangelo, Michael Allen Schneider, you know, like I'll end it here, but there's about 3 billion. Oh, you know who else? Ryan Colt Levy, who voices Denji, Chainsaw Man. Who one time I started to like kind of buy into Hollywood drama. Not buy into, but like I've always prided myself in not getting caught up in the drama, because it's not helpful, and it's not the person I am. But there was one piece of drama that started to hook me a little bit, and I asked him like, hey, do you want to know like, ooh, this thing? And he was like, no, not really. And I just instantly, I was like, oh yeah, duh, this is stupid. I'm being drama. I'm being gossip. And he snapped me out of that, and really helpful, because I always think of that as a reminder. If I feel like there's some gossip that's like starting to hook my interest. I run it through the would would my friends say nah filter. And if the answer is that was probably their reaction, I shut up.
Matter.
Anyway, okay, I'm done with the shout outs. There's about 500 people I could shout out. You get nowhere in life alone. Everything is stepping stones that other people have laid before you. Anyway.
Yeah, we all need people to help us throughout the way and give us support when we're not feeling well and we're depressed and we need somebody to give us a helping voice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And for my final question I want to ask you is, what are your remaining goals or aspirations within the field of voice acting? What's left for you to do?
It's a big question. I'll tell you, not a lot.
Okay.
It's something I grappled with recently. As far as voiceover goes, I look at my list of all of my life, like my career goals in voice acting. And, I noticed last year that everything was checked off. And that was kind of like a problem that I've been grappling with. Like voice shonen protag, check. Voice like kind of edgy shonen protag that uses a katana, check. Because I liked Bleach a lot growing up. So voice a Pokemon character, check. Voice in a Cartoon Network series, check. Voice in Adventure Time, check. Voice in a AAA video game, check. Voice in an RPG, check. Voice in indie things, indie series, check. Voice in like YouTube, like comedy content, like online indie animation, check. I've an abridged, check. Like voice in I like all of these things. I've
so you've also done like commercials and audio, like you've done everything almost in voice acting.
I've done commercials. I've done an audiobook or two. I've done marketing content, or like insofar as tutorial content. I've done.
So is the goal now to move into like directing or go into live acting, or?
I think the goal now is it's never going to be live action. That's not me. I've been told by a bunch of people, and boo-hoo, lobster so buttery. Like my manager was like, you'd kill on camera. Like you look good, you have energy, but like you have presence, yada yada. Very kind of him to say. I don't know if I entirely agree, but he wanted me to, and I said no, because it's not where my passion lies. That's really as simple as it is. Would it be a better paycheck? Probably, but it just sounds like so much hassle that my heart wouldn't be in, and you really need your heart in it.
For sure.
Because you really need your heart in it for voiceover and for anything in this industry. And my heart's in it for voiceover, but it wasn't for a while. And it'd be different if I had felt like I was getting compensated fairly, but I didn't. And so then around the time I started to have these feelings, the strike comes along, and I'm like, there we go. I can put my energy into that. We strike, we fight to be paid better, to be protected better, and then it'll be good afterward. And then unfortunately we got to the end of the strike. It felt like we did all of that work just to not be pulled backwards. We didn't actually move forward. But then the economy got more expensive around us. So it feels like we ended up moving backward anyway by standing still. So then I felt it even harder, and felt like I wasn't being, paid fairly, and all of my goals for voiceover were checked off. Didn't know what to do. But then I decided, I basically started to look at roles like, will this add to my convention banner? Because conventions are the place that I make them by far the most money. 10 times what
sure.
I actually make in the studio.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Which it doesn't feel fair that basically the studios have figured out how to pawn off our our salary onto the fans is basically how it feels. But it is the reality. And so I started to look at auditions as like, will this go on my convention banner? Because that's the only way I'm going to really make any money from it. All my
Well,
rent
people,
is from conventions. But I decided instead, no matter how small the role is, no matter if the role will only make me $125, you know, I'll take that money and I'll put it aside to fund a project.
mhm.
And not shortly after, like a video game or an indie animation, not shortly after I made that decision, did season 3 blow the absolute hell up online, but also that Yuta got a bunch of new action figures and Funko Pops and merchandise. Those things coinciding together means suddenly conventions are making me a lot more money.
For
Enough
sure.
that I can like actually put a little bit aside. Los Angeles is very expensive. I had no hope that I was gonna be able to get like a mortgage on like even a condo until like my 50s. But now I actually see a line there if I work hard at it. And it's gonna
Okay.
be tiring as hell. And it's scary to have a hope that I didn't have before. But it's good to have that hope. And so now I'm maybe kind of just doing planning phase as much as I can and putting a little bit of funding into those projects while the rest goes, I'm just going to drop it into savings until I have enough to, you know, put 10% down on a place.
Okay.
Um,
Well, at least
and
you're
once
going to
I'm
see that
paying
growth.
exactly. And then once I'm paying a mortgage, then it'll get put into those projects. So I guess the next goal in voiceover is 10% down APR financing.
So are you at the point right now where voice acting is your full-time job mainly?
Oh yeah, has been for a few years. Yeah, since
Okay.
actually since 2020. Since about March of 2020, I haven't had any other jobs.
Okay, that's
Once I
pretty
hit
good.
what we call ramen profitable, I dropped my other job. Basically, it's like the concept is once you keep your day job until you can make enough that if you quit, you can survive on ramen again for a bit and dedicate all your energy to the new career. So once I hit ramen profitable, I dropped that day job, I put my nose down and I worked.
Okay. So, have you gotten out of that being ramen profitable?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I'm definitely more comfortable now. Yeah, I'm renting a small house in
Okay.
the LA area, out on the outskirts, so that it's a bit cheaper. It's like 20 minutes to the studios, but that's not too bad.
The only thing I've really heard about LA is that the traffic can be kind of bad. I haven't been there myself yet, so
It can be. It can be. Personally, though, nowhere near as bad. The worst traffic I've ever seen is Georgia.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
My aunt tells me about that too. Which
Yeah.
I've went to Georgia.
Atlanta's hell.
See, I went there once, but see, I didn't really get to see the traffic, so I definitely gonna try it again because I'm supposed to be going there in a few months.
I
But
hope you have fun.
before we wrap up, I just want to ask: was there anything else you wanted to discuss or talk about?
Yes. I was just the biggest thing is like people should definitely watch Knights of Guinevere if they haven't, and look out for episode 2. And I'm mostly just in general, I'm doing a bunch of indie games and animation. And like I said, I think that's where the real heart of creativity is in the West right now, as far as non-live action media. And so Knights of Guinevere, There's another thing called Bunlith, the Witch Upstairs, and a couple things that I can't say the name of yet. But there's one long-running YouTube series that's animated specials that I'm in. That's going to come out soon. That I am really proud of what I did. So yeah, those definitely keep an eye on those, and they're on YouTube, so it's free. Why not support it?
For sure. I'll try to release this to correlate with some of that.
Yeah, and a big thing, by the way, for indie is buying merchandise, because they make nothing, nowhere near the amount to make back what they spent just on YouTube views and ads. Buying merch is the best way to support indie animation, and you get like a shirt to wear or a figure to put on your shelf for doing it. So like you are getting something back from it. So that's my biggest recommendation.
And also it's helping supporting the type of things you want to see more of. So
exactly, it can't exist without it. A lot of people are like, oh, why does Digital Circus, like, why does Glitch push so much merch? And it's like, because that's the only way they are going to make it back in the black from the amount of money that animation costs.
For sure. That's the only way they're getting the most markup for their money. You know what I mean? Because they probably spend a little bit on the shirt, but they get making more money off of that versus the anime type of thing. And it has to all add up, back up type of thing.
Exactly. They lose so much money on the actual production of the animation, so they have to make it back up.
But at least that lets you know that they're really in it for the right reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up today's episode. Before we go, I just want to thank you for coming on and bringing some of our favorite characters to life and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. This was a pleasure.
Nice talking to you. And with that, we end today's episode. I want to thank my guests again for coming on and chatting it up with me. I had a lot of fun and learned so much more about the industry of voice acting. And hopefully you listeners did too. Before we close out, I just want to allow my guests the opportunity to plug themselves. Basically tell anybody where they can find you on social media, and if you have any upcoming cons or anything you want to let us know about.
Yes. You can find me on Instagram at GaspyVO. And you can also find me on Blue Sky at gaspy.bsky.social. And convention-wise, I'm going to be at Anime Riverside at the end of the month, as well as in Columbus, Ohio, the second week of June, and Washington, Seattle area, the third week of June.
Oh, okay. That Columbus one is not too far from me. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, so I might try to see if I can come to that one. That'd be pretty decent.
That would be rad. Yeah, and the same way that I talk about buying merch for indie animation, like I mentioned earlier, basically the way that voice actors get paid nowadays is conventions. So if you want to support us, conventions are super helpful and mean that your voice actors get to survive doing this and continue to improve and make cool stuff for you.
For sure. So next time you go to your local con, make sure you get an autograph and stuff like that. And with that, I just want to say peace. I'll have all her links and stuff below. So if you guys want to reach out and let her know how you feel about her and JJK, if you want to reach out to her and let her know you want to see her at a local con or anything, all that will be below. And with that, I just want to say
awesome. Bye.
Yeah.